So we've talked about the learning spaces and the physical infrastructure that we need to be able to do. And of course, the digital toolkit that comes with preparing the spaces and the infrastructure. We should not forget about human infrastructure. And we're talking about the teachers and the staff. How are you going to prepare them for hybrid and Hyflex learning? So here are the things that you can do that will help you prepare for hybrid and Hyflex. Since it's going to be a whole new world again, we have been going through a lot lately, a lot of worlds, and sometimes it's stressful. So therefore, it will be good to have coaching and mentorship in your schools. Aside from that, since technology has will keep on evolving, and maybe as the environment changes and as things develop, we need to be able to orient our teachers and staff the entire year and provide training for them. When we started the pilot class in Xavier, I think everyone was a little scared on how we're going to be able to succeed from using the 3 different monitors and think about the students online and on-site. But eventually, when we tried it out, I think the simulation, the training, and the practice made us feel a little more confident that we can do it next school year. Yay! Okay. Next is professional development activities. This is one of the things that I'd like to focus on because sometimes, even if there are changes around us in the environment, we also have to take the initiative to develop ourselves. We have to find the time to learn about these technologies, the new or the teaching strategies that we have to be using given the new setup. Will it be easier for the students to collaborate? How should they collaborate in this particular setup? How should I teach this lesson in this particular setup? Will I just be lecturing for the entire time while students in the virtual or online class are listening to me? And the on-site students are also just listening to me? Or how else should I be teaching this lesson? The professional development activities will also help me prepare for assessment. I think this is one of the things that we should be thinking about as well. How are we going to assess students who are always online? How about those who are always on-site? How about those who are online and on-site? Right? So these are the things that we can think about. And I guess one of the things that also made us confident and will surely make you confident is the support services that will be provided by the other members of the community. So can there be a technician who can assist you in case of technical problems? Will there be someone from the maybe a fellow teacher who can be your partner during the hybrid setup, maybe the first few months or weeks, so that you will be able to train yourselves to how to use it first, and then when you're confident enough, maybe you can do it on your own. Also, we have to prepare our students. I know that they are fast learners and they actually are able to cope with the changes with technology or with the things that we are doing. There are still a lot of things that we have to remember when they go through this particular process. There should also be, similar to a teacher or a staff, coaching and mentorship. We should also not forget that they should be able to have training aside from the things that they do in the classroom. Because obviously, when you're teaching them and when they're using the apps, they will be trained. But if there is a need for them to have one-on-one training, or if there is a need for them to actually have a training, an in-depth training about a particular app or a particular lesson, then let's give it to them. And I also want to encourage peer training or tutoring, because sometimes there are students who are not comfortable listening to someone who's a lot older than him. Maybe a peer or a friend or a classmate would be able to do it. And there should also be support services. Because I remember when we started the remote learning, there were a lot of problems that were encountered by parents and students. And sometimes they don't know what to do or they don't know who to call. So the very first thing that should be done is to have a hotline that can help them with these particular questions or problems. Talking about support system, one of the things that were discussed or that people were talking about were what will happen if we all go back on site or if we have on site and virtual classes. Maybe these are the questions that you also need to ask as part of a school. Will your teachers be able to meet the teacher and learner ratio? Meaning, will all your teachers go to school or will some of them opt to just stay at home? Will that be okay with you? Next, how about the teachers who have problems with health or with do have health risk conditions or which need to have a special, somewhat like a space so that they are more protected? Will you be able to provide that or will everything be back to normal? Next, will there be transportation for teachers or will the transportation be enough for teachers? Maybe you can think about how you could help them with the transportation system or how else can they go to school? Will you be helping them maybe find a place for them to stay that's near the school so it won't be a problem? And will there be an alternative work arrangement for everyone? We're talking about time that is given to each teacher. Will you be strict with the time? Maybe, or will you be flexible? For example, they will just come in when they have classes and go home when they don't have. Will that be okay to you, for you as well? So these are some of the basic things that you can ask, or I'm sure the teachers in your school will be asking to make to prepare for the Hyflex or hybrid setup. I guess in general, what I'm trying to say is to become effective, the preparation should always be in taking into consideration the context of the community or the school community. Everyone who's involved in the school setup. We're not just talking about the students, we're also talking about the staff, the teachers, and everyone else who will be part of the new setup or the hybrid or Hyflex setup that we're preparing for. There are a lot of things that we have to take into consideration when we talk about hybrid and Hyflex. And we've already discussed that during the session, and we've targeted these particular objectives. But I think the one thing that you should remember, one size does not fit all. We always should remember that. For example, I had conversations with other teachers or other administrators from other schools, and what they usually ask is, what is the best practice or what is the best strategy that we should be using for hybrid and Hyflex? My usual answer would be, what do you need? What do you want to do? Because what we have right now in our school is totally different with what you might be doing in your own school or what you want to be able to attain as a school. Therefore, when you ask these particular questions, make sure that you have enough context so that when you ask help or when you want to ask advice or suggestions, they will be able to give you the proper one and not just tell you to buy this or to do this. And when you actually do it, it's not able to attain or to achieve the objective or your vision as a school.